Future is our first asynchronous approach. Second one is queueable. Queueable also will try to do everything behind the scenes. It will be executed asynchronously. But the thing is, queueable is not a annotation. Queueable is not an annotation, but queueable is a interface. Okay, what is this interface? If you go to the oops concept, there is something called as inheritance. There is this feature called inheritance. As part of inheritance, you are trying to extend the properties of one base class into another class, which we called as derived class. But multiple inheritance is not supported. Why is multiple inheritance not supported? I mean, I don't want to really go too deep into the inheritance concept, but multiple inheritance is not supported. And as multiple inheritance is not supported, we have something called as interface in place. I will tell you what interface is all about. Interface is more like a class. But whereas the difference between class and interface is, in interface, you will just write the methods and those methods will not hold any logic at all. Interface is more like a class which will have some methods, and in the methods there won't be any logic at all. That is what interface is all about. But there is one thing that you have to take into consideration. When you are extending a class, when you are trying to extend one class into another class, though you do not use all the methods, that is still fine. Though you do not use all the methods from your base class, it is still fine. But when you are implementing an interface, you have to use all the methods that are present in your interface. If you do not use those methods, then your class will throw an error. Okay, I will not go too deep speaking about class and interface here. Our topic is mainly on asynchronous Apex here. Now we understood that queueable is not an annotation, but queueable is a interface. And when you're implementing an interface, you have to make sure that all the methods that are present in that interface are to be used in your class no matter what. Okay, fine. Now let us take an example. Let us try to do the same thing by using queueable. So I'm creating a new class here. Unlike future, the advantage in future is, in your existing class, for an existing method, you can just say @_ feature. But for queueable, that is not the case. You have to create a new class. If you want to say something as queueable, it has to be a class. Okay, fine. Let me create a new class. Create opti queueable. I'm trying to do something called this create opti queueable. Now, as I told you that you have to make use of an interface. If you want to extend a class, the keyword that you use is extends. I'm speaking about inheritance here. If you want to make sure that base class properties and base class methods are being moved to the derived class, the keywords that you use is extends. But whereas when you are not doing it for a class, but when you are doing it for an interface, the keyword that you have to make use of is implements is the keyword. When you use this keyword, immediately system will understand that, okay, user is trying to write some interface name here, and whatever this interface is, in this what all methods are there, all those methods should come into this class. User should write code for all those methods for sure. If he is not using those methods, then I will not allow him to save. That is what it is telling. And now queueable is the interface name for us. I'm not really sure if queueable spelling is right or wrong. Let me quickly see. QUE. Okay. Okay. Now, if you see here, it is throwing me an error stating that class must implement the method execute. Why is it telling me that it must implement the method? Because there is a prerequisite that whenever you are implementing an interface, all the methods that are present in this interface should be used for sure. If you do not use them, then no, I'm not gonna save this. Okay, fine. What is the method that we have here? The method name is execute. Very simple. The method name is just execute, and this is a parameterized method, and the parameter name is queueable context. Queueable context, you can just give any name for this. If you just save like this, then yes, class will save. You don't have to write logic. If you just have the method, that is enough for me. But if you want something to happen asynchronously, then write your logic. Okay, now fine. I understood the creation of a class, and I understood the concept of implementing an interface. And while implementing, I understood a point that because I'm implementing something, what all methods are present in this, I have to make use of them. Okay, this is absolutely fine. Now, where should I put my logic that should get executed asynchronously? What is the process means? Yes, in this specific method, whatever you put, that will be executed completely in a asynchronous way. Whatever logic you keep inside this execute, that will be executed in a asynchronous way. Now what I will do is, I will not take big examples. I will just take only this example. I'm just putting it like this: sync account test and then limit one. This time what I will do is I will uncomment this. Okay, fine. We have created a class, and we are implementing a queueable here, which is good. And then we have an execute method, and in the execute method we have written the logic that has to be executed asynchronously. Okay, fine. Now tell me, why should I go for queueable and why not for future? You told me that queueable is having many advantages, but it seems more like a complicated approach. For future, if I just say at that future, I'm getting my job done in asynchronous pattern. But for queueable, I have to create a new class, implement an interface, and then put my logic over here. This doesn't actually really look much advantageous to me. Yes, while writing, the efforts might be a bit more, but while implementing, the resources will be in favor of you. Now, let me show you how will the resources be in favor of you. Now, what is the syntax for doing it means you might be wondering that, okay, this is a non-static method. So if I create instance of this and if I say execute, then I am done. You can just wonder that I will just create instance of this because that's how you normally execute a method. Q is equal to new something like this, QUE dot, and if you do this, then yes, you are done. No, this is wrong. And I will tell you why it is wrong. It is a parameterized method. Now, what parameter will you pass? It is of type queueable context. Now I don't even know what queueable context is all about. I don't even know that. Now what parameter should I pass means at this point of time we have to realize that queueable context is not something which you are creating. Queueable context is something which system created in order to understand what is the job, what activities are to be done. Queueable context is purely for the system understanding, for making our life easy. This is not the syntax that you have to use in order to invoke a queueable job. Then what is the syntax? The syntax.
Aditya, your voice is not clear. Aditya, Aditya,
Hello, can you hear me now?
yeah,
Okay, perfect.
you are disconnected and rejoined.
I don't know why this is happening. Since how long?
You have shown that syntax, no?
Okay, okay, fine, fine. Okay, I can repeat that. I can repeat that. Okay, fine. Okay, so the syntax what we have to make use of here is system.enqueueJob and then provide the class instance. What is this class instance? For this class, you will be creating one instance and you will be initializing it. Whatever instance is there, you just have to put it over here. So when you say system.enqueueJob, now system will understand that okay, user is trying to execute some logic which is present in a queueable class. And how can I know which logic has to be executed? That logic will be present in the execute method. Now I don't really have to worry about what is this queueable context and all. Now system will take care of everything. I don't really have to think about it. So what I will do is I will just put something like this and I will click on execute. Before I click on execute, let me tell you that system.enqueueJob will return you something which is of type id. System.enqueueJob is returning you something of type id. So I will say id job id is equal to system.enqueueJob. Even if you do not say this, I mean, even if you directly put this, system will work. But if you put this, even then system will work for us. Now I will try to print my job id here. I will try to print my job id here. I am clicking on execute. I will go to debug only. Okay, okay. I should not look into this. I should look into execute anonymous. Execute anonymous is the log that I should refer to, because I kept debug log in the execute anonymous block, not in the queueable class. So I'm clicking on debug only and I see that okay, job id came for me. Fine, I'm not doing anything. Let's not worry about job id for now. Now in the same class, what I will do is I will say queueable opportunity and I will not populate value for stage name here. I did one successful transaction and this time I'm doing a failure transaction now. Okay, fine. Now again I'm clicking on the execute. Now I'm going to my anonymous block. and I am going to my debug only. I have my job ID now. Now again I am going to my Apex jobs page. Okay, I'm just trying to reload it. If I try to reload this, I see there are two queuable jobs. One is completed and one is failed. But again, I'm having the same dilemma. But this time the advantage for you is you have job ID with you. System is providing you the job ID. As system is providing you the job ID, you can come here and immediately see, okay, this is my job ID that I'm actually looking at. Okay, and what happened for it? It got failed. Why did it fail? Because of so and so error. So in this way, you are able to track the exact status of your own specific job despite not being in the state of dilemma. That is one advantage for you. Okay, you are getting a job ID because the process whatever you are trying to use here is returning you a job ID, and so which you are able to make use of it. Okay, which is very good. Now let us understand few other advantage of queueable. Other advantage is you can call one queueable from another queueable. If there is one more queueable job written, you can just call it by giving the class name. That's it. So easy. No drawback at all. It will not throw you any error. But whereas in future, you cannot do it. It will throw you an error. But here it is provided for us. And then the biggest advantage is you can pass non-primitive data types also as a parameter. Okay, now how can we pass? There is only one method written, and in this one method, queueable context is there. And you told me that queueable context is purely for system understanding, and we don't have to do anything. And this is the only syntax that we have. Now, how can I actually pass parameter to this class? Okay, let me show you the process now. Now, let us assume that you are telling to the system that okay, I am giving you some account. I will give you some account record, and for that account record, you have to change some field value. Okay, let us assume that that is our scenario. I will give you an account record, and for that specific account record, you have to change some value. Okay, fine. Or I will give you an account record instance. I will give you an account instance, and you have to insert it. I will give you an account instance, and you have to insert it. Okay, fine. Whatever it is, you just give me anything of any data type. I don't have to worry at all. My first thing, because you are telling me that you will give me something, what is the type of it? Okay, the type of it is account. You are giving me something of type account ACC. Fine. Now what I will also do is I will create one constructor. I will create one constructor here. Okay. And I know that I am receiving something of type account obj ACC. Now what I will do is observe carefully what I am trying to do here. I have a class level variable and I have one parameter here. With the parameter whatever I am receiving, I am assigning the value to my class level variable. So I am receiving one parameter for this specific method. Constructor is also a special method. It is also a method. We cannot deny that. So into this constructor, whatever parameter I am receiving, I am assigning the value that this parameter is holding to my class level variable. And in the execute method, because there is access of using class level variable, I am trying to do something like this. Okay, fine. You have written a constructor, you have a class level variable. To this class level variable, whatever parameter you are receiving, you gave it, which is absolutely fine. But no, how can I pass parameter? That is what my question is. From the beginning you are just telling system.enqueue job. What, how can I actually pass it? Means okay, there comes the thing. When you are trying to initialize it, you can specify your parameter. If there is any, you can specify your parameter like this. Okay, now what I will do is I will say account ACC is equal to new account, ACC dot name is equal to queueable account, and then I'm not inserting it over here. I am passing just the instance to this. Because I am passing the instance to this, what will happen? This particular parameterized constructor invocation will happen, and this parameter whatever I am sending, that will be assigned to this class level variable, and in this method class level variable will be leveraged and the corresponding DM will happen. Let us quickly observe if this will work as expected or not. I am not doing any DML over here, but I am passing an S object instance which is not at all of type primitive data type. I am able to do it. Now I am clicking on execute. Now, okay, I am going to execute anonymous. Okay, fine. Let us quickly verify if the account insertion got successfully created or not. If you see sync account test, what is the name we have given? We have given the name as queueable account. So let me click on go, and maybe we can also see in the Apex jobs as well if something failed or not. Okay, Queueable says it is completed. If you see, there is something called as queueable account. It did not come up over there. but you can see something called as queueable account, and in the queueable account we are able to see everything being done. Now if you see, what are we trying to do here? We are just trying to create one instance, initialize it, and have our instance ready with all the fields holding the corresponding values. But where did the DML actually happen? The actual DML happened inside a queueable class. Okay, then how did it happen? Means because we are passing it as a parameter. To which method are we passing it as a parameter? We have created a parameterized constructor, and while doing the initialization, what we are trying to do is we are trying to send our parameter. And once we send something as a parameter, the constructor is assigning the parameter received to a class level variable. Why is it doing a class level variable? Means because this obj acc is available only in this specific block. This obj acc scope is only within this constructor. But where do I want something, where do I want to put my logic in order to get it executed asynchronously? That has to be present in the execute method only. If you want something to happen asynchronously, that should be present over here only. Okay, now for this method to make use of something, it should be a class level variable only. Only then this method can access, else this method cannot access. So what did I do? I have created a class level variable, and whatever parameter I am receiving, I am assigning it to a class level variable, and this class level variable is kept in the execute method, so that I am trying to pass something of non-primitive data type as a parameter to my queueable interface, and thus getting my job done. But can we do something similar in future? No, you cannot. In future, it is a method with parameters, and you have to send it by using only primitive data types, due to which queueable is advantageous over future. So what advantages have we seen? One, chaining is possible in a queueable, which is not present in future. Second, job id is something which you can fetch in queueable, which is not available in future. Three, even though if the parameters that you're trying to send is of type non-primitive data type, even then it is allowed, which is not possible in future. So these are the different advantages, these are the three advantages that you can see queueable over future. Now you can ask me, queueable seems really very good to me, then why should I use future at all? But while writing the code, it is kind of difficult for you. Reason being, you have to write a new class. But for future, you can have your class in the same way, you can have your methods in the same way, just say at the rate future. You don't really have to do anything much. But when you have to write a queueable, you have to create a new class, identify the logic which has to be moved, bring it out, put it in a new method, which will consume some amount of resources while writing some code. But still, future and queueable both are completely asynchronous. Both will get executed completely behind the scenes, and the both will not be able to show you any error at the UI level. You have to go to Apex jobs in order to see them. Both are kind of doing the same thing, but the approaches or the implementation process is kind of different for both. So this is about future and queueable. Now let us look into the third asynchronous approach. The third one is schedulable. The name itself is kind of straightforward, stating that schedulable means you are trying to schedule something. Let's say that every Monday at 10 a.m. I want an email to be sent out. Every Monday at 10 a.m. I want some email to be sent out. Okay, fine, you can do it. Write your logic, keep it in some method, and then you can schedule your time. If you want to do something like this, then schedulable is the thing for you. You are starting your job now, but when will your job execution happen? The job execution happens every Monday at 10 o'clock. Okay, how should I do it? For something to be executed in a schedulable way, again you have to write a new class. Yes, there is no other way. And for this, there is another interface called schedulable. There is one more interface given by Salesforce called schedulable. And yes, as we are implementing an interface, what do we have to do? We have to use all the methods that are present in the interface. What all methods do we have? There is only one method for us. Okay, fine. Now, what is the difference between this execute and the execute that we have in Queueable? The parameter name. If you see, in Queueable, parameter name is Queueable context, but in Schedulable, the parameter name is Schedulable context. Does it mean that do I really have to know something about this? Means no, system will take care of it. These names are not at all for us. Okay, fine. Now let us create one schedulable job. So file, new, Apex class. Then what I will do is send. Yesterday someone asked me to write some logic in for sending email. So send email schedulable. Okay, as I know that I have to implement an interface, I am implementing implements schedulable, and I am saving it. It will not allow me to save. Reason being, okay, I have given wrong spelling. Scheduable. Okay, yes, schedulable. Now Because I'm implementing an interface, it is a prerequisite that I have to use the method that is present inside it. What is the method name? Execute. Okay, fine. Public void execute. And then what is the parameter name? Schedulable context. Schedulable context. And any name you can give for the parameter name. Okay, fine. I am trying to save this. Now what I will do is I will write some logic. I cannot show you the output now because this will execute at some point of time. I will just show you the logic. Send email in Apex, or I can use the single email message only directly, the class given by Salesforce. I'm just randomly taking this logic, whatever is present. I'm not worried too much about it. I'm just blindly taking this logic and I'm putting it over here. This logic, whatever I have written, will send me an email. And here what I will do is I'm not specifying the IDs here. I'm specifying my email address. I'm specifying my email address. That's it. I'm not really doing anything much. What I'm trying to do is I just wrote some logic in this, which will send me an email. Now I have saved my class. Fine. We have written a class, and in this class we have something called as execute, and we have written some logic inside it. Okay, which is absolutely fine. Now how can I schedule this, or what is the process for me to invoke this job? Means there are two ways. One, you can do it from the user interface level. Two, you can do it behind the scenes in the background by using Apex. Also you can schedule it. First, let me show you how should I do it at the UI level. Okay, if you want to do it at the UI level, come here, come to your home page, then just type Apex classes here, which will show you all the classes that are present. Just type Apex classes here. This will show you all the list of classes that are present, and then you can see one button called Schedule Apex. There is a button called Schedule Apex for you. Just click on this specific button. Okay, what is the name of your job? Okay, my name of job is email scheduler. I'm just giving some random name which is easy for me to understand. Okay, which class do you want to schedule? Let me click on this. If you observe carefully, it is showing me only one class. Though there are four classes present in my system, why is it showing me only one class? Because this is the only class for which schedulable interface is implemented. If you see, there is a lookup filter for this specific field. What is the lookup filter? Lookup filter is telling that only take Apex classes for which schedulable interface is implemented. Okay, fine. Now how do you want this job to get executed? Do you want this job to get executed monthly basis, or on a daily basis, or on a weekly basis? Okay, I want this to get executed every day. If you want, then choose every day here. Okay, fine. If you feel that no, I do not want it on every day, I want it on first of every month. Okay, say on first of every month. If you want, you can do it, and then you can tell, okay, from which date to which date do you want this job to get executed? Okay, starting from today, I'll say 13th. Starting from today, I want this to happen till 27, something like this. And when do you want your job to start? At around 9 o'clock, okay, or at around 10 o'clock. Okay, from 13th till 29th April 2027, on first of every month at 10 o'clock, I want an email to be sent to my email address, whatever I have mentioned, and you can just say save. Now, does it mean that exactly at 10 o'clock will I be receiving the email? No. Exactly at 10 o'clock, you will not be getting the email. Exactly at 10 o'clock, your job process will start. If resources are available at 10 o'clock, then yes, exactly at 10 o'clock, you will get an email. But if resources are not available at 10 o'clock, resource availability happened at 10:01, then you will receive email at 10:01. This speaks about, if you see here, exact start time will depend on job queue activity. This speaks about placing this job on the queue, but not about its execution. Execution is purely dependent on availability of resources. Now I'm clicking on save here. So this is how you're actually scheduling an Apex job. You have written a class for which schedulable interface is implemented, and then you have a method, and in that method you have written your logic. Whatever logic you write in your execute method, that will be executed based on the time you provide. Okay, now how can I see? Yes, again, same place. Go to quick find, type Apex jobs. And when you do this, you will see something called as scheduled Apex. It is showing you something called queued. If you see the status completed, failed, and then queued, it can show you the stat. I mean, it can show you all the jobs irrespective of the status over here. Then if you scroll towards right, this is the class, this is the job ID, and this was submitted by some person. This is what you have to understand. Now also let me tell you why is Apex method empty for few and why is Apex method present for few. Means For future, the method name will be there. But for queueable and schedulable, method name is just execute. So that is why it is not explicitly showing to you. For queueable, it is just execute. It is so evident. Why do you need the method name again? Do you want the system to tell you execute? For schedulable also, it is execute only. That is why it is not showing you the method names for the interfaces. But whereas if it is a future method, it is clearly showing you the method name, because in one class you can have multiple feature methods. You cannot execute one feature method from another, but in one class you can have multiple feature methods. So if I just give you the class name, that might not really be good enough for you to understand which method. That is why for future I am explicitly showing you the method names, but whereas for queueable or for schedulable I am not showing you the method names. This is one way of scheduling an Apex job. Go to Apex classes, click on schedule Apex button, give some job name, choose the class, provide the timings, and then get it done. There is one more way of scheduling a job completely from the backend, from anonymous block also you can do it. But for doing this, you need to be aware of two things. First, create one string variable that will tell you the job name. Okay, I'm just saying schedule Apex. And then there is something called as cron expression here, str cron expression. I will tell you what this cron expression is all about. Cron expression is having 7 parameters. First one, at which second, at which minute, at which hour, on which day, for which month. When you say weekly, which day of the week, and when you say yes, which year. So you have to specify all of these for the system to understand when should the execution happen. Now you might feel that this is really difficult for me to remember. Is there any shortcut? Yes, there is a shortcut for you. What you can do is just type cron maker. Just type cron maker, and you can open the very first website, and you can tell, okay, I want something to get executed monthly. When? On the first Monday of every month. When you say on first Monday of every month, exactly at 15, just specify your timings here and say generate. Now when you click on generate, immediately system will give you the cron expression for you. You don't really have to worry about it. Just use this cron expression and put it in like this. If you feel that no, I want some job to happen for every 30 minutes, if you feel that I want something to get executed for every 30 minutes, okay, come to minutes, say every 30 minutes and click on generate. Now this will give you the cron expression for you. If you say that okay, I want something to get executed on every Monday, okay, come to weekly, say Monday, and then click on generate. Now system is generating the cron expression for you. If you use this website, it will help you a lot. Mark my words. Use this cron expression and put it over here. So we have specified the job name and we have specified the cron expression. Then what is the syntax for scheduling means? System dot schedule. System dot schedule. Then here what should I do? First to provide the job name. First parameter is the job name. If you see here, first to provide the job name. Then provide the cron expression. What is the cron expression? Str cron expression. This is the second parameter. Then what is the third parameter? Give instance of your class name. If you have an instance, provide that instance. Okay, ins is equal to new so and so, and then say ins as the third parameter. That's it. So what are we trying to do here? When you want to schedule a class asynchronous, when you want to schedule a class by using Apex, the three things that you need to keep in mind are: one, what is the job name you want to give; second, what is the cron expression; third, what is the instance of the class. If you have these three, then this is the line that will help you to really schedule a job. Now I'm just clicking on execute now. Schedulable string system dot, it is just schedule, not schedulable. My bad. System dot schedule. Okay, now let us quickly come here and see if there is a new entry for scheduled Apex or not. Yes, you can see there are two entries for scheduled Apex. Now you can see there are two entries, but will it help me to understand when will this actually happen? Means no, it cannot really provide you that information. That is one drawback over here. But if you schedule something at the UI level, then it can show you all the information, when is it done or how it is done. But whereas when you look here, it will not really provide you enough information. Now I will show you one more thing. In the Apex jobs, you can see everything related to any asynchronous job. Now if you come to quick find and if you type something called as scheduled jobs, there is something called as scheduled jobs. Just click on scheduled jobs. It will show you all the scheduled jobs that are present in your system. And if you remember, email scheduler is the name that I have given while scheduling a job at the UI level. While scheduling job at the UI level, email scheduler is the name that I have given. I'm just clicking on manage. When I click on manage, it is clearly showing me, okay, monthly on 1st of every month, starting from this day to this day at 10 o'clock, this job will happen. Okay, fine. This is giving me enough information. For the job that I have executed by using Apex, SCH Apex is the name that I have given. Now, when I click on manage for this, it is telling me, kind of incomplete information. This is not really giving me enough information. Why is the end date blank, and why is it like this will not provide you accurate information. That is one drawback. If you schedule a job by using anonymous block, by providing cron expression, that will not provide you all the information needed. That is one drawback with this. So these are the two ways by which you can actually schedule an Apex job. So by using Cron Expression and second by using UI as well. Now the most powerful and the dynamic asynchronous Apex approach is batchable. This is the very important thing. The advantage of Batchable is it can handle records up to 50 million. No other asynchronous Apex can do this. Batch Apex is the only asynchronous Apex approach which can handle records of a very huge count. Be it future, be it queueable, be it schedulable. They might be getting executed asynchronously. They might be having higher limit of governor limits, but in neither of them are able to handle more than 50,000 records. No SQL query can actually help them. But whereas in Batchable, it can handle up to 50 million records. 50 million is the limit for us, which is very, very huge. And that is the reason why every person should really know much about Batchable. Batch class is something which is top among all the asynchronous Apex approaches because of the limitations that it is actually having, because of the higher limits that it is actually holding. Now let us understand what Batchable is all about. Okay, before I go for Batchable, I just wanted to quickly check with you for 5 minutes. Do you have any questions on the three approaches that we have covered so far? Batchable is kind of independent of all the other three things. So, before I go for Batchable, I wanted to check any questions on the three things we have covered so far: future, queueable, and schedulable. Should we check the sandbox time to identify the exact time of execution? Yes, you have to. Future mixed email exception. We will cover mixed email exception when we write test classes. That will be covered today as well. We will see that. A doubt on schedule? Go ahead. Can we handle partial failed record in queueable? See, when you say partial failed, always try to understand. If you just say insert record, it is not partial. If it fails, entire thing will be rolled back. When you say database.insert, then yes, partial thing will be allowed. If you use database.insert anywhere, it is partial. Be it asynchronous or be it synchronous. When you use database, it will be done. How to decide whether we have to go with flow based schedule or Apex schedule? Okay, fine. Think like this. By using flow, do you really have the flexibility to execute it for every half an hour? If you see that there is a need that something should happen for every 1 hour, flow cannot help you. Flow can help you to execute a job daily once. That is the maximum frequency that it can provide you. But if you see a need that something should happen, for every 30 minutes or for every 1 hour, then flow is not the place for you. Can you explain inheritance and interface? Make sure. Okay, fine. We will see if time permits. I can do it, but that's not in the plan actually, because OOPS is the prerequisite that we expected everyone to go through before coming for these sessions. If we run a schedule that should run every day, should change the stage of opportunities created today. And if I schedule at 11:59 p.m. every day, will it run properly? Why do you want to schedule at 9 p.m.? When you
Aditya, your voice is hello. Aditya, your voice is disconnected.
hello, Okay, Anand, can you make me as host, please? I don't know. I'm being muted. You can see the mic symbol, right? For that, can you make that as host, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wait. I lost few questions. Let's take a pause. 11:59 p.m. is the last minute for the query to pick today's records. Yes. If you do it, obviously it will pick. See, once the records are picked, then fine, you're good. But what if the records are not picked at that point of time? What if I need to schedule in 10 minutes? Scheduling in 10 minutes is not ideally a very good approach, but still you can do it in Cron Maker. Apex class moves to production. So how does a regular user invoke the class without writing invoke class? Who will write the invoking class code? See, always remember that end user will never do anything, and anonymous block is still available for you in production. You can, if you want some scripts to get executed, anonymous block is still available for you in production. You cannot make any change to a class, or you cannot create a class, but if you want to call a method present in a class, anonymous block is still available for you in production. Can we write more than one system.enqueue job call? When you say more than one system.enqueue job, you want multiple things to get executed, like you're calling two queueable jobs at once. Is that what you mean to say? Okay, yes, okay. So one thing is, there is only one queueable job allowed at a time. You can have chaining, but not in parallel. There cannot be two queueable jobs at once, and having two queueable jobs at once is a very bad practice. Okay. If we schedule any job that picks opportunity record having status closed, but someone changes the status before the actual time. See, your software query execution happens at your actual time only. When the system is actually executing your class, when your code is getting executed, at that point of time, whatever records are coming as part of your query, only they will be fetched. In transaction, we are able to see job id. You told that we can't see job id. See, for a future class, when you're executing something future, let's assume that you have called 10 future methods at once for different scenarios. Now when you go to apex jobs, you will not get to know what is the scenario of which future job, because you never know the id. But whereas in queueable apex, you can say id space queueable id is equal to and then system.enqueue job. So you're getting to know id of your job. By using that id, it will be easy for you to go and track it. Yes, you can pass collection variable. Anything can be passed. There is no such restriction. Any non-primitive data type variable can be passed. When to use asynchronous? When to use? Okay, it's a link. Okay, fine. Can we call queueable from batch? We will go to batch. Please keep your questions confined to the topics covered. Can we hold a scheduled job or cancel it? Yes, you still have the flexibility to cancel it. You can just go to scheduled jobs and click on delete button. You can see the delete, right? So if you just click on delete, then it will be deleted. It will no longer be available for you. I think any other questions? Okay. Queueable jobs. Yes, queueable jobs can actually make callouts. You need to implement one more interface for that called database.allow callouts. Only then you can do it. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, callouts are possible from queueable. Not delete, only inactive. No, there is no such thing as inactive. If you want, you either have to delete it and then reschedule it again. There is no such thing as putting it on hold. If there are two classes in the program, can we call the method of one class from the class that implements schedulable or queueable? Yes, you can do it. But what is the parameter that will pass for schedulable context? If you can say just null, right? But yeah, to answer your question, yes, it can be called. Where can we use future method for best practice? It depends purely on your requirement. You already have all the logics written, you already have all the methods present, and this one method is being called from multiple places. Okay, and if you feel that okay, if I move the logic from a method to a different class, then I have to change logic in almost every place, it is difficult for me, means then just make it as iterate future. What means call out equal to true for future method? If you wanted to make a call out to an external system, means it is about something related to integration, when you are thinking to do it, and if you want to do it from a future method, then what you have to do is you have to say call out equal to true. Only if you specify call out equal to true explicitly, only then